So anyway, tonight on the show, we've got Steve Brown of Trickster.
Yes.
Who is now reassuming his duties with Def Leppard.
Yeah, at least for now.
Yeah, since Vivian Campbell's cancer has returned.
Is it bad that doesn't bother me?
Well, again, I know that you're not a fan of Vivian Campbell. I know you don't think a lot of the guy, but what do you think? What do you think his chances are?
Of what? Living?
Yeah.
Cancer came back?
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. None. Not
Zero.
good. Not good.
Zero. I think they better hurry up and release that Dio Disciples thing so that they can fucking use that money to pay for his chemo.
Sure.
He's not going to. Do you think he's going to make it?
No, I don't.
Is it secretly karma?
You know what? I can't even comment on that. I don't really know. I don't know the guy. I don't have a thought on him one way or the other.
You don't think that it's Dio karma for talking bad about Dio?
No, I don't.
I do.
I don't. But regardless,
that's what I tell myself.
well, regardless of that, that's a serious thing. But usually, when you hear stories like that, they never end up good.
No, he's toast.
I mean, that's what Dio said. I'll be back. I'll be back, and that's what our good friend Ian Evans said.
Yeah,
I'll be back on stage by the end of the year,
and that was it.
Yeah. It's like, I'll be
died.
back. Yeah, it's come back, but I'll be back. I appreciate the positivity of all that, but usually when you hear that, it's usually not good.
Yeah, look, in all seriousness, I don't hope the guy dies, but, it doesn't look real promising either.
No, it doesn't.
But at least they got a good guitar player in Steve Brown.
Well, Steve Brown has stepped up to the plate, and I've heard nothing but good things about his filling in there, and Say if Vivian doesn't return, what do you think the chances of Steve actually joining Def Leppard as the full-time replacement?
I think they're great, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought him back for a second tour, and you'll hear it in the interview. He talked about that he has a long-time friendship with the guys.
Sure.
So that's how he got the gig, was that he's been a longtime friend of the band. So if they're already using them and they're already happy with them, and let's face it, love the new Trickster record, but Trickster's not exactly a tour for 18 months, do another record, and tour another 18 months type of a band anymore.
Right.
So, certainly he needs to do something if he doesn't want to work in a cubicle.
Sure, absolutely.
So I would think the chances are probably really good.
What do you think of that lineup, the package?
Yeah, it's kind of odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I get the Def Leppard and the Tesla because they have a long time relationship with Tesla. In fact, that song and Emotion, is about Steve Clark,
right? Mm-hmm.
And they toured together back in the 80s and in the 90s, and
right.
They've got a long term relationship. But Styx,
Styx is an odd one. The only thing I could think of is that maybe Tommy Shaw knew somebody from the damn Yankees years.
Well, could be.
But it's an odd one. And I got to imagine Styx is a little bit more of a rocking band than I think anybody gives them credit for.
Well, but it's not really the fact that they're not a rocker. They are, or they're not a rocker. It's the era.
Yeah, well, it is. Styx was definitely more of a 70s. The era that they were in at the same time with Def Leppard was their terrible era. Was the, Don't Let It End, Mr. Roboto, that era.
Yeah, sure.
Which was, nobody likes that stuff, do they?
Not that I'm aware of, unless of course, you're their former singer.
Yeah, well, Dennis DeYoung might like him.
Yeah, exactly.
But that dude looks like he's 90. That dude looks old. I can't believe how old he looks.
Yeah.
Dude, who is less recognizable now, Dennis DeYoung or Lou Gramm?
They're both in the same category.
But if you had to pick one out in a crowded city, like on a crowded city street, which one do you think there's any possibility you might get, or none?
I would say none. I would not recognize either one of those guys. When I saw Lou Gramm's photo on the press photo that he was playing at the Rockcino,
right?
I could not believe that was him.
Yeah, he doesn't look. I think DeYoung kind of does. His face still looks sort of similar, little. But, yeah, Lou Gramm looks like a trucker.
Yeah.
You know, he does not look like the little skinny guy at all anymore.
Yeah. But, again, you got to wonder, why were these guys so transformative in their appearance in the last, say, 10 or 15 years?
Well, Lou Gramm, because he fucking lost half his brain.
Well, I understand that. I understand the illness that he went through. But still, It's just like, that's just really bizarre how somebody doesn't even look like themselves anymore.
Yeah, well, but you know what, though, too? And this could be right and this could be wrong. I don't know. But we saw those guys on TV all the fucking time for about 4 years.
Right.
And then we didn't see them again for 20.
Well, that is true.
You know, so there was a large gap where we didn't see any of their changes.
Well, I mean, another guy, which we've talked about on the show, that looks nothing like himself.
Yeah.
Brian Howe. Yeah,
he don't look anything. I'd never pick him out.
Yeah. Brian Howe, formerly of Bad Company. I would not recognize him today.
Yeah, you know who looks drastically different, though, but because we see him all the time, we don't notice it, is our buddy Don.
He doesn't look drastically different.
Yes, he does.
Not drastically.
You know what? Yes, he does. And I'll tell you why I think that. Because I see all the old photos dealing with the website.
Sure you do.
When I look at every photo, of him in 1985 and 86 and whatever, and I'm not just talking about gaining weight. Everybody gains weight.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm talking about if you look at a photo of Don, in the early 84, 85 photos of Don,
mm-hmm.
and you look at the photo of him in his garden, man, they don't look like the same dude. It
well,
looks like
that part I will agree with, only because there's no makeup involved and there's whatever.
Mm-hmm. But and just different hair and different.
When he was getting ready for the show Friday, last Friday, after he got out of the shower and blew his hair dry and all that kind of stuff, he resembled the Burning Like the Flame video.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't pay that much attention.
Yeah, because I thought he had the same kind of hair going on in the whole thing, and it's just like it was kind of like a throwback look.
I got to say he looked healthier than I've seen him.
Definitely.
He definitely looked like he's doing a lot of walking in that garden. he looks like he dropped a good 25 pounds
easily.
And just he looked more alive. I don't know how to even put it.
Well, he's got a lot more energy. I mean, he went through that bout with the cancer himself, and had the chemo and all that, and did get that chemo bloat,
right?
And once he got that all off, and like you said, having more of a healthier lifestyle, and stop the smoking and stop drinking, and all those things. Yeah, he definitely looks a lot healthier.
Yeah, that was the most healthy I've seen him in a long, long time.
Yeah, and he actually sounded pretty good Friday.
Yeah, he did. I like the fact that he acknowledges, hey, I'm not going to hit these fucking high notes.
Yeah, but he did sound good.
He did sound good.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
And he was sick.
Yeah, he went. Well, he's always sick. I don't think I've ever seen a show where he's not sick. Honestly, have you?
Well, I have.
I've never seen a show where he didn't say he was sick.
Yeah, well, he had a little bit of frogginess going on in the voice there before the show, but he was doing his warm ups and stuff, and he definitely got that cleaned out.
Yeah, I believe me. When he's doing the warm ups, I was like, oh boy, this is a long night. It's like, thank God I brought my car. I might just leave early.
We had a good time standing on the side stage, though,
dude. I'm just going to say it, and I'm a huge fan and friend of Sean McNabb.
Yeah.
But Mark Boals adds a lot.
He does.
It's a different energy. And not that Sean put everything he had into it, and Sean had his own energy, but Mark has a different energy that works.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I don't know if you paid much attention or not.
Yeah.
Did you notice his bass tone at all?
I couldn't really hear it.
Oh, I noticed his bass tone right off. He had this really rich, full bass tone. Yeah. It wasn't overpowering. It didn't like thump you in the chest. It was a very, very subtle sound that he brought to the table. And I was just like, wow, that's really cool. And I was listening to just, I was trying to hone in just on what he was playing.
Yeah.
And he definitely brought a totally different, like you said, a whole different vibe to that.
He did. I mean, a lot of the songs had new energy in them. Just Got Lucky, especially, was the one I was like, man, this fucking is really kicking.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, pretty good,
Yeah, no kidding.
I was definitely impressed with Mark, and I had not seen Mark before. So, that was my introduction to Mark Boals.
Yeah, well, we ran into him in the hotel, and he stood and talked to us for about 10 minutes.
I know. I felt bad. He just looked like he was trying to, had to be somewhere, but he was just like trying to be nice anyway.
Well, that's why I asked him. I said, are we keeping you from something? Oh, yeah. I got to go up and get in the shower and get ready. And it's like, oh, okay. Hey, you should have said something,
Meanwhile, we're just fucking dicking him around outside the pool.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure. But he was very cool about it, though.
Yeah. And Officer Jim and his friend, they had no idea what to say to him. That was hilarious watching them.
That was fun.
Yeah, dude, I had more fun watching those guys trying to talk, especially to Mick Brown.
Right.
Than anything, because Mick was just, I'm not going to repeat some of the stories that he told, but I'm not going to tell the story, but I'll tell the gist of the story he was telling these guys. And these guys were, I don't know if you heard some of their questions that they were asking, but
I heard what he was saying. They were asking
him questions about, so where did Dream Warriors come from or some shit like that. And then, I don't know, out of the blue, Mick just started talking about how in the heyday, the heyday of the band made him realize what it must be like to be a really hot chick. And he went into graphic detail about some of the shit that went on in the mid 80s.
Right.
And I was like, wow. I mean, I've heard just about everything. And I heard Mick telling these stories, and I was like, whoa, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, no kidding.
And even for me, that's some crazy shit.
Well, how about that story Don was telling about the two chicks?
We heard some good stories that we're not allowed to really tell. I don't think we could tell any of those stories.
No, can't really tell any stories, but they told us.
Yeah, they told us, and it was like, holy smokes.
So funny.
There's some shit going on in the Dokken camp.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, again, only because we know them. Sometimes when I read some of those stories online where people will say, oh, Don's a dick, man, or he's this and he's that. After 20 years of knowing Don, never witnessed that.
He may be to certain people. Him and George may have that fucking vibe where they can't get along to save their life. But always nice to me. There was 15 people that, outside of us and the gaggle of girls that came in. There was 5 of us. There was right, me, you, and the 3 girls.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And there was probably 7 or 8 more people that flowed in and out during the after party thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Don couldn't have been nicer to any of them.
Yeah, he took the time to talk to everybody and just friendly and signed autographs and took all the pictures you wanted. And
meanwhile, he's trying to shovel food in his mouth,
too.
He's
trying to eat his after show dinner.
Yeah, and the one guy with the John Levin shirt came up to him and was like, I don't want to bother you while you're eating. And Don's like, his fucking mouth is full of goddamn food. He's like, just give me a line. Fucking cracking me up. He signed everything. But he's always been that way.
Sure.
Every time I've encountered him. Now, I don't know if we always catch him on a good night or what, but he's always been cool to me.
Right. Well, when everybody was getting in the van afterwards.
Yeah.
And Mick was like barking, let's go. We got an early flight. Let's go.
Right.
Well, everybody was in the car. John was in the car and Mark and Mick were in the car. And so I was standing outside there and there was half a dozen people standing around back there with Dokken stuff.
Right.
And Mick rolls down the window yelling at me, Wendell, go in there and tell Don, let's go.
Right.
So I walked inside and Don was coming back out. And of course, as soon as he walked out, all these people surrounded him with stuff. And, he took the time and signed every one of those guys' whatever they brought, and Mick is yelling out, "Come on, Don!" He goes, "I'm coming. These guys got stuff I got to sign."
Yeah. It's amazing to watch, because after this many years, I know I'd be a jaded prick.
Right.
I'd be like, look, no. I'd be like Bret Michaels. I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Sure.
I'm just not going to go back to that backstage area. I'm going to go to the hotel.
Well, he stood back there and signed every one of those people's stuff and took pictures with everybody that wanted a picture until everybody was taken care of, and then he got in the car and they left.
Nathan from Kentucky, were any of the chicks hot?
Well, I guess it just depends on what your definition of hot. Were they young groupie chicks? No.
Teresa's okay.
Yeah, Teresa's they're good looking girls, but I mean, it's not like that anymore. It's not the young hot, slutty looking chicks anymore. It's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
So
I would have raped Rockin' Robin.
Yeah, she definitely was a hardcore.
She is a hardcore, but I'll bet you you can't even bang her without Lost Behind the Wall playing in the fucking.
What is her story? Does she work there?
I don't know. I think she's just a Dokken fan.
Okay, I was under the impression that she works at the Hard Rock.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know her at all.
I think she's part of the concierge services for the bands.
Oh, is she? I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought she just worked there.
Yeah, well, she does. I think she's the girl. She's the girl that Don called to get the seats and everything.
Oh, is she? I did not know that.
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. So, but the thing is, knowing how hardcore she is, for her to get a fake band to sign her arm, I'm talking about Steel Panther,
right?
Signing her arm as their fake names.
Right.
And then getting it tattooed in.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
She was hardcore. She was definitely a hardcore fan.
So just think about that. Steel Panther is a real band, but they're a spoof band, and all the members are spoof names. And they sign their spoof name on this girl, and then she tattoos it permanently on her skin.
Yep.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. Dude, how about that roadie guy? You didn't talk about that guy.
Well, which guy? The guy with all the tattoos?
No. The black guy that was like the hardest of the hardcore Dokken fans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a black guy. I'm not going to say African American, because in my opinion, after this week, everybody's an American.
Yeah.
If you live in this country and you were born here, or if you become a legal citizen, you're just an American to me.
Right.
That's it. You're an American.
That's right.
No more African American. No more whatever American. I don't care. You're an American. So he's a black guy. He's an American.
He's not a Dokken American?
No.
Okay.
So anyway, he was standing next to me on the stage. Yeah. This guy sung every Dokken song.
Yeah.
All the words to every song. He was out there just belting them out on the side stage.
Right.
What is that?
My phone.
Oh. Why don't you turn that goddamn thing off?
I'm not answering it. I'm just leaving it.
All right. But
I have to leave it on until 10 o'clock because my business is still open.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, anyway, for the token black guy in the audience,
right,
to know all these words, he was just belting them out, man.
Yeah, he knew every word to every song, and I mean, not even like common songs.
Yeah, he knew Too High to Fly.
He knew what's the song? The new one that they played. This Fire.
Oh, This Fire. They played.
He knew This Fire.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even know This Fire.
Yeah, he was a hardcore.
He was a real hardcore, and he wasn't like Dokken's roadie either, was he?
No, he worked there.
He just worked at the Hard Rock.
Yeah, he was running around getting some fans for the stage because it was pretty warm up there. So he was just placing the fans around on the stage to get some air circulation up there.
And what was funny was he thought that I was somehow with my my very expensive fancy video equipment that I had there, my phone. He he thought that I was somehow part of the video production team or something.
Okay.
Because I was periscoping. I was trying the periscope, and I was periscoping, 30 seconds here and there of Dokken playing. And he every time he had to walk by, he's like, "I'm so sorry I'm ruining your video. I'm so sorry I'm ruining your video." It's like, dude, gives a shit.
Well, he was very, very polite.
Yeah, he was.
And he was just enjoying himself, even though he was working. He was just rocking out, man, having a good time.
Out, dude. Everybody was. It was a good. The only ones that didn't seem like they were rocking the fuck out was the dead ass crowd.
Yeah, it was just kind of, people were singing along and stuff, but I don't know. Is everybody just getting old?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Everybody's just getting old.
It's too hard to stand up. You got to fucking position your walker the right way and it's just too hard.
Yeah. But
good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. I enjoyed it. It was fun hanging out, and now that we're back on live,
yeah,
you're gonna have to invite one of your select co-hosts to co-host with you on the 11th of July.
11th of July, like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that means I got to definitely make sure that I'm here.
Where would you be? Pittsburgh? Yeah.
Well, I'm in Pittsburgh on July 4th. I know that.
Okay.
Is that next week?
Yeah, that's next Saturday.
Dude, it is such a fucking blur. I've not that it's a lot of miles, but for me, it's a lot of miles. You know me, I drive 4,000 miles a year.
Right.
I've put 7,000 miles on my car since March. Which I know is not a lot, and most people be like, big fucking deal. I put that every month or whatever.
Right.
But for me, 7,000 miles is like 10 years of driving.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll make, okay, the 11th.
Yeah.
Where are we going? You going somewhere? Or are you
going to Dayton.
What's in Dayton?
The Dokken Firehouse, and I can't remember the third band.
Warrant.
Is it Warrant?
I don't know, but that's usually who it is.
I'm going down to Dayton.
Okay. So. Yeah, that's fine. I won't ask John. He's a fucking douche. I'll ask Steffi.
By the way, I was texting with Steffi while we were doing the show on Tuesday, which we'll come back and talk about after we hear Steve Brown.
Oh, yeah? Were you hitting on her?
No.
Oh,
I was just letting her know that we were on live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we'll talk about our experience on T Radio V this week.
What was her reaction?
Oh,
big fucking deal?
No, she was just like, Aiken didn't tell me.
Oh, stop it. Like she'd watch anyway.
Well, she was watching.
Was she?
Yeah, because she was commenting back when you were mentioning Snatch Chat.
Oh.
So she texted me back, Snatch Chat, laugh out loud.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we'll talk about the T Radio V thing.
All right, I didn't realize that Steph was a watcher that week.
Well, regardless, I texted her and said, "Hey, we're live."
Cool.
Aiken never said a word about it. He never said anything about it.
Yeah, because I don't put everything out 15 times on Facebook, right?
Exactly. Well, anyway, we are back live, already an hour down.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, if you're listening to the show live, you got to jump in the chat room. There's always a good time going on in there, chatandkill.com. Sign in with any of your social media, be it the chat wing, Facebook, Google Plus, whatever, Twitter, so on.
Do we really need Hail Nigger Americans, Steve Jackson? I mean, Jesus. They already confiscated your flag. Now they're going to have to confiscate your tongue. My goodness.
Wow. All right, well, jump in the chat room, be a part of that. Steve Brown from Trickster coming up here. And he's going to talk about Trickster's new release as well as being a part of Def Leppard.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we're going to play some new Trickster here. What's the new name of the new CD?
Human Era.
Okay. So it's a very solid record from Trickster. Who would have thought out of all the bands from the late 80s into the early 90s, Trickster would have risen to the top out of that whole group?
Dude, and what's crazy is if you take all of those bands that have put out records in the last 10 years, Trickster's last two, that New Audio Machine and then this Human Era, is the only thing I could think of all those bands in the last 10 years that has been stronger was the Rat record.
Right.
Infestation.
Sure.
Two great records, and I did not like. I hated Trickster.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan either, but they've matured and they're solid, and it's amazing that their original lineup is back after 20 years.
Yeah, well, he talks about why too.
Yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah, it's okay. This is a fun interview, actually. I mean, you don't have to be a Trickster fan to actually dig this one. If you're a Def Leppard fan, a Van Halen fan, 80s metal fan, all that, you'll dig this. It's a good interview.
All right. Well, let's get into some new Trickster here. This tune is called Crash That Party. So join us in the chat room and crash that chat room and be a part of the show. So here it is. It's brand new Trickster exclusively here
on your classic metal show.